Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, fellow TEDx nerds. It's an honor to be here, more so just because I get a chance to connect with you guys for the first 12 minutes. And I want to welcome you back to this cultural section because I have the one objective of trying to inspire the next generation. What are you going to take away from today? What are you going to do to improve tomorrow? And how can you use your past to empower your future? I want to tell you about my little journey, my little project called Operation Compassion. Operation Compassion started in October, and I was looking, like many college students here at the University of Washington, for an internship. And so I looked toward politics, because that's my passion. That's what I love doing. And so I went on Google, and I typed in internships in Seattle. And I found an internship at the Seattle mayor's office. I applied, got an interview, got accepted, cried a little bit, and it's been such a journey ever since. I started this journey of waking up at 7:30 every morning and getting to work at 8:30. And when I get to work, I take the bus, and I get on the Ave, and I catch the 70, 71, 72, 73, or 74 down to City Hall. And when I'm on the bus, I saw this one individual. And this individual is just truly incredible. His name's Reggie. The story about Reggie is a homeless man who panhandles on the buses. And I see him almost every day or every other day. And one day, I'm sitting down, and Reggie decides to sit next to me. Lucky me, right? And I try to ignore him, and I put my earbuds in, turn my music all the way up, and then he bumps me on the shoulder with his elbow. And he says, "Can you spare some change?" I ignored him. And then he asked me again, just a little bit louder, and he says, "Can you spare some change?" I took my earbud out, and I said, "Excuse me, and your name is? How do I know you?" And he told me his name was Reggie. And I told him my name was Daniel. And thus began the awkward conversation of trying to create a relationship out of nothing. And I told him, the holiday seasons are coming up, and I really want to give you some spare change, Reggie, because I have it, but I don't know what you're going to do with the money. Are you going to spend it on food? Are you going to buy things that aren't going to help your life? What are you going to do with it? And then he looks at me a little awkwardly, and then he asks me, "Are you a cop?" I didn't know what to say, so I replied, "No, I'm a full-time student at UW." And then he looks a little shifty-eyed, and then he says, "Okay, I'll tell you what I do with the money, but you promise you can't tell anybody." Pinky promised. And he told me, "I donate this money that I panhandle with to homeless youth." And so I did what any other average person would do. I didn't believe him. And then he got off the bus, and I did another thing. I followed him. Right? That's what you all would do, I'm sure. And as I watched, and I was really stealthy about it, I watched Reggie walk into this organization, and I followed him, and I went up to the receptionist, and I asked the receptionist, "Excuse me, ma'am, do you know a man named Reggie?" And she points to a photo on the wall and says, "Yes, I do. Don't you mean Reginald?" And I say, "Sure." And she says, "Yeah, he's our #1 contributor to homeless youth." And at that point right there, I was just, something happened. It was the aha moment. It was the eureka. Something came over me, a wave of, here I am, a human being, prejudging a man before even getting to know him, not stepping outside of my comfort zone to get to know this person and connect with him on a human basis. And so since that day in November 6th, I no longer wanted to be that person. And so thus started Operation Compassion. And what it is, it's a simple mission of me meeting one new person a day, intentionally. Not stalking them, of course, not like in the bathroom, not at the cash register. Just if it happens through serendipity, if it happens through fate or destiny, so be it. But me just listening to who they are, what story it is that they have to share, and I document it. I take a photo with them, sometimes if they let me, and I just type it up on my little blog on Tumblr that I'll tell you about after my presentation. But I want to tell you about some of the people that I met along this journey. Day one, January 1st is when I started this. Meet Sean, ladies and gentlemen. And Sean, if you're in the crowd somewhere, I hope you're okay with this. Sean had this really goofy smile about him, and I decided to sit next to him one cold winter day in January. And what's cool about Sean is I asked him, Sean, where are you going today? And he said, I'm going to the library. Cool. Why are you going to the library, Sean? And he said he wanted to go study books. But what people don't know about Sean is Sean, once upon a time, served in Desert Storm as a Marine. And he was so hurt by the fact that his comrades had suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder coming back from war that he decided to dedicate his life to psychology. And so after the war, he wanted to study books so he can work toward that goal, work toward his passion. And he shared with me one little piece of wisdom, that being, Daniel, study books until one day someone is studying you within them. The passion to learn. Day 21, Eldrick of E.J. Berger. Now, a lot of you might know Eldrick as the guy who flips burgers on E.J. Berger, which is located on the Ave near the University, Washington area. And the cool thing about Eldrick is he had a passion, and that passion was making people happy through food. And so what did he do? He packed up his whole life, moved to Seattle, and created his own restaurant, E.J. Berger. And he named it after himself and his wife, whose name I'm forgetting, but I believe starts with the letter J. So if you ever get a chance, talk to E.J. But what this is symbolic of is every day throughout your life, you meet people, right? You meet them, you can socially connect with them on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, what have you. But what kind of relationship are you building with that person? You have to ask yourself when you go to sleep at night, who do you love and who loves you? So this relationship that I've built with EJ, no, I might not love him and he might not love me. But what's great is that every time I walk into EJ Berger, I'm not just asking for a burger. I'm asking for how his day is, how he's doing as a human being. How is he influencing and impacting other people that come into his restaurant? One of my personal favorites, Gerda Weissman Klein, and I had the beauty and pleasure of meeting her at the Seattle Center Guiding Lights Conference not too long ago. And Gerda's story is so phenomenal. But what people don't know about Gerda is that once upon a time, she was in a Nazi concentration camp. And her story is, she was asked to walk, after 2 years of being in this camp, a 350-mile death march. And she was one of the few remaining survivors. You know, it really chokes me up to hear this story because the way she said it just moved me to tears. And the story about Gerda that she shared with me is this idea of liberation and what it means to be free after talking to her. And her story is after this death march, she was so regularly seeing this Humvee with a swastika on the hood come to the camp and check up on the women there. But this time, one winter day, she saw a white star on this hood. And out of this white Humvee came Kurt Klein, Lieutenant Kurt Klein, who liberated her from this concentration camp. And he said just one sentence that encompasses all of her freedom. And he said, "Excuse me, ma'am, can you show me where all the other women are?" He opened the gate, and at that moment, right there, she was free. Free to believe, free to hope, free to create change. 6 months later, Gerda Weissman Klein married Kurt Klein, and they're happily in love. Now, I got to tell you, everybody that I meet doesn't have an impactful story. Some just a little kooky. One of them is Jeff, and he's a stormtrooper. And no, I didn't take this on Halloween. I was walking into Pagolachi Pizza, and I just saw him. And he was sitting by himself, eating some pizza, or at least trying to underneath his hood. And I just wanted to know, like, Jeff, why? Why do you do this? And the great thing about Jeff is he just wanted to. No reason. He just wanted to dress up as his favorite character one day. Attack of the Clones is his favorite movie. Another, Bo and Parker. Just walking down the street, I saw these two mimes. And truth be told, they didn't have much to say. But what they showed me was their passion to express themselves through body language. You don't always have to talk, and it's always great that you listen. And one of my personal favorites, Mario. You can catch Mario here at the University of Washington because he's constantly on his search for his Princess Peach, not letting any Goombas or dragons or even his annoying brother Luigi to stop him. And what's great about Mario is he just wants to entertain people. He wants people to stop in their college, busy lives and just appreciate the little things that humans can do to bring a smile across everyone's face. Now, I just want to share with you two last anecdotes. And this is Edward McLean. And Edward McLean is the embodiment of what Operation Compassion means to me and what I hope can spawn into the future. Edward McLean, once upon a time, was a homeless individual. Then he came to Seattle in search of one of his family relatives, but lost all of his money due to gambling, due to drugs. But the story about Edward is that didn't stop him. He found Real Change newspapers, where he was able to not only help organize local columnists to write newspaper articles, but sell them just for $1 outside of Safeway, right near the University of Washington. And you can walk up there and he'll say just two things: real change, and if you say no, he'll say, have a great day. I see him almost 24/7 in front of that Safeway for the past year and a half now. But it's not Edward's story that really intrigues me. It's Red Flambe's story. So I met Red Flambe on the bus on my way to work, and she said, gee, you look really nice. Kind of awkward. Didn't know how to respond to it. But I said, thank you. And your name is? And she replied, Red. And I asked Red, how's your day going? She said, it's going phenomenal. I'm blessed. Why are you blessed, Red? Because today I have a chance to make a difference. And what's phenomenal and extraordinary about Red is that once upon a time, she too was homeless, but ran into a gentleman by the name of Edward McLean, who helped her rebuild her life through Real Change newspapers. And so it's this idea that we as human beings are connected in some astronomical, universal, crazy way. But we just need to take the time to get to know each other on a human level. So my call to action, take out the earbuds, put down the iPhones and text messaging, and just hear each other. Listen. What does it mean to be human? What does it mean to engage those relationships and build from them? Because at the end of the day, you never know whom you're going to impact. And I just want to share with you this one last quote. It was told to me by one of my favorite mentors, and it's this: the purpose of life is to find your gifts, and the meaning of life is to give your gift away to others. We have the gift of listening, empowerment. We have the ability to create real change. So when you call and you ask yourself, how am I going to inspire the next generation? I want you to just look into a mirror and see within yourselves that you have all the ability to make change. Once again, my name is Daniel Nguyen, and I encourage you to meet one new person today. Thank you.